vast tapestry of recent human history, the invading attackers won, and on the backs of their slaves, on richly blood-stained land, they built the roads and churches and gloriously venerated order of this new, purportedly more perfect union. Today, we are taught to imagine no other order than that of a strong and terrifying father with a piercing eye and steel fist. His hand may at times be invisible, but it is no less uncompromising toward those who fall short of his abusive expectations. We are taught that we are all monsters by nature, untrustworthy and incapable of cooperation without the imposition of domination and control. We fear each other, and sometimes with good reason, as we are also taught to hate and be hated based on social patterns we often barely see, let alone understand. We are taught to be small and ashamed if we are not made in the image of our commanding father. We are taught to give up. For a while, it worked. For a while, those great men, reaping the bounty of the churning, isolating, short-sighted, power-hungry juggernaut continued as they had, never content but secure beyond question. For a while, the unwashed masses at the margins were squeezed once again to near silence, and the consciences of the modestly comfortable few in between were unburdened. War became a distant, never-ending fact of life. Problems and solutions came individually wrapped for convenience. Profits soared and congealed into fewer and fewer pockets at the very pinnacles of the highest shining towers, ever further from the reach of those unable to pay rent. But in time, slowly at first, then in a chaotic and harrowing, uncontrollably accelerating avalanche, it started to become difficult and then impossible for any new coat of paint to sufficiently hide the rot behind the comforting facade. Today, ignorance and apathy are wielded expertly by desperate con artists and opportunistic vultures. Cartoonishly exaggerated echoes of half-remembered prosperity and yet harsher control and disparity are paraded as the best and only hope for salvation. Things will get worse before they get better. But those who came before us, not the faces printed on stamps and lauded in history books, but the people who wrote and fought and dreamed and helped the ones entirely out of view of respectable society, have left us the tools we need to survive and to build. It may be in 20 years, or it may start tomorrow, but the ruins will fully collapse before long. They are beyond repair. We need to construct new homes on better foundations and evacuate everyone before more lives are claimed by exposure or falling debris. It's not safe to stand up and stand out, but if none of us do, then all of us will suffer more as the boot improves its foothold on our backs and necks. Now is the time to do whatever you can. Donate food. Volunteer to help get it to the folks who need it. Make blankets. Do research. Help with archival and preservation, whatever form it takes. Get the fuck out there and do something. Even if you start small or don't think you can contribute much, it'll add up. Change is possible. You're not alone.